Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Adafruit Show and Tell. My name is Melissa, and tonight we're going to go ahead and start out with Liz. Hello.
Hey, Melissa. Hey, thanks for hosting. Tonight, I've got the Memento camera, and it's connected to this thermal printer. Is the cat printer. It's become kind of, I feel, infamous on the internet. But what I've got going on the Memento is running Arduino code that is using kind of a variation on the Game Boy filter, which Jeff had added to the core, and my cats just had a fight next to me. And so it's giving you that pixelated grayscale goodness that we come to know and love. And I've got Agent Dale Cooper here, which is appropriate because we're coming up on Twin Peaks Day. So if I take a photo with the Memento right now, it's going to start printing to the thermal printer rather, here. Yay. So I added a little border, kind of make it look like a Polaroid. I also added shot on Memento. If you don't want the filter, you can also press select and it will do no frame, and we can do maybe a little plant and print that. At first, I couldn't get this working. What ended up getting it to work was adding some delays to the library. And then that made it so that the images print correctly and the code keeps running on the Memento and everything is good. But I'm writing this up as a Learn Guide right now, and I'll have the code compiled as a UF2 so people can drag and drop it. And I also have a page on there kind of talking about the troubleshooting stages I went through to get it working. So if you ever try to maybe do a project like this, you can see kind of thought process. But yeah, it's been fun to work on, and I'm glad I got it working. Kind of gives that Game Boy printer vibe from the 90s. So yeah.
Cool. So which library did you end up having to add the delays to?
Yeah, so there's this really awesome cat GFX library that is by NITEC, and it works great. I was able to compile the demo for the Picamera Railway, and that worked fine. But then what was happening was when I was trying to print the whole image buffer from the Memento to the camera, like it would print like halfway. Actually, I think I have an example here. Yeah, it would print like half the image and stop. And it would still be connected on Bluetooth, I discovered. At first, I thought it was a Bluetooth issue. And so what ended up happening was if I add a delay in between the writes, then that makes it so that everything flows nicely. So that's why you get that little pause kind of in the middle of printing, but makes it more stable long term. So,
okay.
Because like the code's still running and everything. Like before, it would stop. So it's been nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for stopping by and showing that.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for hosting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Next up, we have DJ Devin 3. Hi. Are you ready, DJ?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Wow, there's only two? Okay. This is a touch driver that I came up with that uses the XPT 2046 touch controller, and this calibrates if you like go to the bottom corners, and so this is an auto calibration. So I wrote the touch driver and that's working. And then I will unplug that. And then I will turn the light on. Whoa, overexposure. So I designed a little PCB that's like a feather wing adapter for the display. So I've written the touch controller, the display controller, and the SD card is built into the back of this thing. And this is basically just comes apart, little sandwich pins. And then added a little feather, this custom PCB, and start it up, and should just might be a little too dim. And it crashed. Oh, and I have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, just the first couple of paragraphs of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as a demo for that. That's just for the display demo. So I have a touch controller working, a display working, SD card works as well, which I have tested. And there's two more things that I'd like to show. And since there's like, I don't know if there is anybody else here? Is it just me? Because I can take up time if you need.
It's just you. You're the
Okay.
last one here.
Okay, so these are 2.5 millimeter pitch matrix panels. Cute little guys. And if you've seen the 12 panel matrix display using the 5 millimeter pitch panels, as well as Syndrome's 25 panel display, you'll know that if you want to make an array of any sizable, appreciable size, you need support brackets. So this goes with 3D printing. And there is a support bracket, and it's nicely wedged in there. And then if I only have the 2 panels, so I kind of have to like, pretend so that everything lines up nicely. And that way I know that I can add in a large array using these support brackets, and there will be 4, bracketed together. These are pretty nice and chunky. So these will take a lot of weight. And that's my 3D printing stuff. And then another project I'm working on is the same display, but another custom board. And this one has, it's hard to see, focus.
Cutie pie.
Yeah, a little cutie pie. I'm going to try and run this whole thing off of a cutie pie S3. And that's another custom board. And then this just kind of comes apart like that. Oh, yeah. It's also a little Fraggle Rock graphic I made for that. And then that just comes apart like that. So that's what I got so far. I've been pretty busy having a fun time, and thank you for hosting, Melissa.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah. Regarding the matrix panels, I did a message board guide, and I had to design some that were similar to that.
Yes, the matrix panel project that I worked on with the 12 panel would not have been a success without a lot of work that was done by you with the RGB matrix drivers. So I'm very appreciative of your work on the back end, even though it's, you mostly work on Blinka, but a lot of that stuff does transfer into CircuitPython as well.
I do. Well, I did a little bit of work on the back end, but I worked mostly on the front end stuff, like the libraries and stuff. It was Jeff Epler and Phil Paint Your Dragon that did most of the work for the back end there.
Yep, and they had to update the matrix because Syndrome broke the matrix a couple weeks ago. They had to update it, like it was like from 16-bit to 32-bit, and now that enlarges the theoretical maximum amount of array panels from 25 to 50.
Nice.
I don't think anyone. I've done 12, and I'm planning to do a larger one. And the plan is Syndrome and I are going to attempt to break the new matrix ceiling. Maybe someday. It's going to be costly because these matrix panels are not cheap.
No, they aren't.
A large amount of panels is, it's something that you have to add on to. So you start out with something like, 2 panels, and then you get 2 more, and then 2 more. You just add on to it over time. And eventually you'll get something. Now, the 12 panels that I had that are 5 millimeter pitch, they're huge. They take up a massive amount of wall space. I don't have a big enough wall. So I had to go with the 2.5 in order to try and increase the amount, which also decreases the circuit, the copper length that the copper has to travel. So I'm thinking half the length, you might be able to get more signal integrity, for longer travels. That's the theory. And we'll see if we can break the matrix again sometime this year, hopefully.
Yeah, the limiting factor might just be the processor itself. So
at this point, yes, the S3 I do not think is going to be able to do it. And the IMX series isn't going to do it because the IMX doesn't come with enough RAM. But if you combine a whole bunch of RAM with the IMX speed, I think it could do it.
Cool, yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by and showing that off.
Well, thank you very much, and everyone have a lovely week.
Cool, thanks. And that does it for our show and tell for this week. We have the Ask an Engineer in about 20 minutes, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that about wraps it up. So have a good evening, everybody.